Hello guys and gals, hope you're all doing well. My name is TAUSIF, and this will be the first time you're taking a good look at my physical visage. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about the Egyptian pantheon. So the ancient Egyptian civilization is one of the oldest in the world, and the ancient Egyptian culture is deeply rooted in their theology. So today we're going to explore the ancient Egyptian theology, starting from the creation of the universe and the birth of Ra, all the way to the conquest of Horus in his battle against Set. So our story takes us to the beginning, when there was nothing but the primeval waters of Nun. And from underneath the waters, Ben, the colossal triangular mountain, emerged. On top of Ben, there was a lotus, and the blossoming of the lotus gave birth to the sun god Ra. Ra then created his two children, Shu, who is the god of the air, and Tefnut, the goddess of the rain. Then Shu and Tefnut together went on to explore the infinitely vast universe. Ra, standing at the top of Ben, worried why their children are not returning, sends one of his eyes in search of his children. The eye locates them and brings them home safely. Getting his children back safe and sound, Ra was so happy that he broke down in tears, and from these tears of joy, humans were created. And then Shu and Tefnut mated and gave birth to Geb, the earth, and Nut, the sky. And together, the earth and the sky had 4 children: Osiris, the god of fertility and agriculture; Isis, the goddess of life; Set, the god of desert, storms, and darkness; and Nephthys, the goddess of death and nightfall. Osiris, being the god of fertility and agriculture, created the Egyptian civilization. He married the goddess Isis and created his kingdom on the side of the Nile River, and his kingdom was luscious, green, and full of life. Set, on the other hand, was left out in the desert, and he created his own desert kingdom, which was barren and lifeless, and lacked resources, and so he was always jealous of Osiris. Set married the goddess Nephthys, who at one point took the form of Isis and slept with Osiris, and from their union, the jackal-headed god of death and mummification, Anubis, was born. Already jealous, when Set catches wind of what his wife and his brother are doing, decides to take revenge against Osiris. He takes Osiris's measurements and makes a coffin made of gold and jewels. Then he threw a feast in which Osiris was invited. And in that feast, he presented with his coffin and said, whoever fits this coffin perfectly will get to keep it. And so all the gods, one after another, tried to fit inside the coffin, but because it was measured specifically for Osiris, nobody could fit the coffin perfectly. But when Osiris tried to fit himself inside the coffin, he fit perfectly, and that's when Set closed the coffin and then took it and threw it in the Nile River. Upon learning this, Isis started looking for her husband and finally finds him under a tree in the city of Byblos. But she was too late, as Set immediately arrives and kills Osiris and mutilates his body into 42 pieces and then scatters the pieces all over Egypt. Nephthys, realizing her fault in this, decides to help her sister And then Isis, with the help of Nephthys and the others, find each and every one of the pieces. Then Anubis, the god of mummification, joins the pieces of Osiris together and then mummifies him and brings him back to life. So Osiris comes back to life, but he cannot stay for long. Because he died and went to the afterlife and came back, he must now rule the afterlife as the god of the afterlife. But during his brief union with Isis, they give birth to Horus, the falcon god of the pharaohs. All while this is happening, on the other side, Set, sitting upon the throne of Osiris, is enjoying his time being a tyrant. Horus, now an adult, swears revenge for what he has done to his father. And so Horus and Set wage war. And in the first encounter, Set heavily injures Horus, plucking out his left eye. Horus returns from the battle, injured and missing his one eye, but with the help of Hathor, the goddess of love, who magically restores his eye and heals him. After fully returning to health, Horus, with the help of his mother Isis, hatches a plan. They plan to poison Set's food, and when Set eats the poison, he immediately falls sick. Horus, sensing the perfect opportunity, ambushes Set and finally defeats him. Upon defeating Set, Horus becomes the rightful god king and rules over Egypt, along with his mother Isis and aunt Nephthys as his advisors. The pharaohs of later times are said to be descended from Horus. After admitting defeat, Set wanders off into the desert and at one point joins Ra in his sun boat and goes on to slay the monstrous serpent Apophis. Osiris, after becoming the god of the afterlife, judges the souls of the dead and becomes the lord of the Duat, the unseen. So there you have it, folks. But can we just take a second to appreciate what a good boy Anubis is? Because we all kind of think of him as this like jackal-headed, scary god of death. And I especially watched a lot of the Mummy movies when I was a kid. And in the Mummy movies, he was portrayed as this like really evil, negative, villainous character. But in reality, he's the illegitimate son of Osiris. And he is the one who later mummifies Osiris and helps bring his uncle daddy back to life. Right? And that's basically why he's probably my most favorite ancient Egyptian deity. Because he's a good boy, he's a good dog. Now here are some facts that I may have left out from my initial summary. While it's most prominently known to be Ra, who is the one who is born from the lotus and creates Shu and Tefnut, in some areas of ancient Egypt it was believed to be the god Atum, and in some accounts it was the god Ptah. Ptah. Am I saying it right? I don't even know if I'm saying it. Ptah. Ra is sometimes fused with the god Atum to create Atum-Ra, and sometimes he's fused with the god Amun to create Amun-Ra. Ra is probably the most popular ancient Egyptian deity in all of ancient Egypt, so much so that people, literally anybody and everybody, wanted to associate their names with Ra to sound more powerful and mighty. A prominent example would be the pharaoh Ramesses, whose name literally means the son of Ra, or the son of sun. In my summary, I said that Osiris was killed and his body was cut into 42 pieces, but in some accounts, it is said to be only 14 pieces. The goddess Bast or Bastet is the goddess of my favorite animals. And protection, goddess of cats and protection. And even cats in the ancient Egypt were very protective of their owners. And I don't even think ancient Egyptians would prefer calling themselves the owners of cats, because they love them and respect them so much that they treat them as their family member. They would even mummify the cats who die and put them right next to their human companions inside the pyramids, inside ancient Egyptian tombs. Cats were in fact so protective of their human companions that there are even accounts that whenever there was a fire in anywhere in ancient Egypt, the cats would rush inside the ablazed building and try to get their owners out. Firefighter cats! So there you go, a brief summary of the ancient Egyptian pantheon, mainly a brief summary of the creation myth and the Osiris myth. I hope you liked the video. If you like it, then please hit the like button, and of course subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Book of Lore, and hit the bell notification so that you get notified every single time I upload a new video. And guys, please subscribe. I need your subscriptions like Anubis needs tissue paper to wrap his mummies in. Well, that wasn't right. We'll find out in the next video.